Welcome to Or Something Like That,
the podcast where you can talk shit with your besties.
We're your hosts, Sam
and Hollis. Be sure to follow us on social and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
And if you love us, give us that 5-star review.
One, two,
Hello, we are recording.
We're back. What's our catch-up? Just the gala?
Yeah, so we went to a roaring 20s gala.
Okay, is it gala?
Or gala?
Gala. Or gala?
Oh, gala.
It's not gala. That doesn't sound right.
I feel like gala sounds nicer than gala, but, I mean, either.
The MC was saying gala.
Yeah, I feel like gala's more common.
Is it?
Yeah, but I feel like gala sounds better.
Yeah, it's the Met Gala. No one says Met Gala.
That's true. I mean, maybe it's a regional
like a regional thing. Like
it's definitely gala around here, that's for sure. I prefer gala. It's a sophisticated gala.
Yeah.
But anyways, the nonprofit I volunteer for had a big fundraising gala.
Yeah. It was fun.
It was fun. We dressed up. We looked great.
We looked fantastic. And let me just say, the best part of an event like that is putting the outfit together. At least for me. That's the most fun. But I will say, it is tough for a girl out in the streets these days trying to put an outfit together. Especially when I feel like now that I'm done having kids, and I think I've said this before, I'm kind of getting back into my fashion era, but I'm also in my mindful consumption era.
Yeah. Which
really makes it difficult because, especially with a theme like Roaring 20s, I don't want to just buy some costume off of Amazon. It's going to be crap quality. Probably 3 or 4 other people are going to be wearing it. Yeah. I didn't want to do that, but it's also like, okay, so you go into a vintage shop and maybe they have something, maybe they don't. And if you want to source something a little more authentic, you have to order it online. You can't just like pop into a department store or anything anymore and try to find something that might work with accessories. And yeah, I don't want to order a bunch of stuff and then return it. So, I mean, I got lucky that I had something and then I was able to find the accessories like in a vintage shop. But yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a costume party. It was just a theme. So I think everyone did a really nice job of just like 20s inspired. It didn't have to be like, you have to dress like a flapper.
No, but that, for me, I wanted to.
Yeah.
And if you have something that is more like, okay, like you have to, it's hard these days.
Oh, yeah. Because everyone's first option is just to go to Amazon.
Right.
So I'm trying not to do that.
Right, same. And, if you do have to order something, it's all online. And now I feel like I almost can't order something and return it at all because I feel like it's just going to Ghana.
Yeah, and that's the thing about returning things on Amazon. I mean, I don't know if I've ever returned anything to Amazon because usually they just say, don't bother.
Right, and they just refund it.
Yeah, because it's like so cheap anyway.
I know, it's not worth it.
It costs more to return it.
Yeah.
It's like more of a pain in the ass for them to like deal with the return.
It was a fun gala though, for sure.
And nice, yeah, it was a good time. I think they made some money.
Yeah.
The whole point, and
we nailed our outfits. Some other people nailed their outfits.
Yeah, I lucked out because the organization I work for, they run a boutique, and all the profits from that boutique go back to first of all, it serves underprivileged women coming out of homelessness, women coming out of prison to get back on their feet.
It's very on brand for us.
Yeah. And the whole purpose being to get them back into the workforce specifically so they can come and shop there, get everything they need to get ready for job interviews. They have job coaching, counseling, classes. It's a really fantastic organization. It's all women run. So I actually happened to find a dress there.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So it felt like I was doing it the good way, the right way.
Yeah, right. Yes,
it was already. And it was perfect because it had, fringed beads.
Yes, it was very 20s.
Yeah, it was fun. Things like that are always interesting. You never know what's going to happen at an event.
Yeah.
But I think it went pretty well, and
yeah,
you came, so that was nice.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was good.
What's been up with you?
Well, not much really in terms of what's been happening since the last time I saw you, since it was only a few days ago. But I will say, before I was coming over here, I was having a conversation with myself in my head, as one does. And it really got me thinking about how the way that I picture how my expressions and my face looks in my head is vastly different from the reality of the situation. And I feel like every time I watch our podcast clips, I'm like, who is that? Like, who is she? I don't know her.
Oh, I know. I think that's all of us, though. 'Cause I feel the same exact way. Where it's the same thing when you catch your posture in a reflection and you're like, whoa! I don't stand like that. My posture isn't that bad, is it?
Well, and it's so funny, too, because when we were talking about how those aren't my mannerisms, I don't look like that, and our friends would be watching it being like, no, like, that's literally exactly what you look like.
Yeah, it's a video camera. It's capturing you in real time. You just don't want to look like that.
But it is funny just how different our perceptions of ourselves can be sometimes.
I know. Yeah, the other day at work, I was on this photo shoot, and one of the photographers, this really attractive woman, actually, I asked her, I was like, do you watch Real Housewives of New York by any chance? She was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, you look like Jenna Lyons. And she was like, somebody just told me that yesterday. She does. She had, like, same face shape, eyes. Like, she's stylish, too.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, she's like, I actually have screenshots of her in my phone because people have been telling me that. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to start, like, stealing her style.
Yeah.
But she was listening to somebody talk, and the person went, you look really pissed right now. She was like, what? I do? And I was like, it's fine. I do that constantly. I see my reflection or a picture, and I'm like, God, I look so pissed.
Miserable, yeah. I know. And it's funny because I texted you before I came here, and I mean, the amount of times I can go from stunning to bridge troll and back again in a matter of hours is astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look in the mirror and be like, she's gorgeous, she's stunning, and then my face will eat my blush, my hair will go flat, I'll walk into some bad lighting, and it's like jump scare.
Yeah, I know. It happens really quick.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? I wonder if we'll ever get used to, because I kind of have, since we've been doing the podcast, I've kind of gotten used to the sound of my voice now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not as horrible. Remember in the 90s when you would hear it on a answering machine and you were like, oh my God. Yeah. You know, because we just heard our voices so much less then, I feel like. And now I have kind of gotten used to it where like it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll get to the point with video where it's like, yep, that's me.
Yeah, I actually don't hate the sound of my voice on recordings.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I certainly don't love to look at myself, that's for sure. I remember my parents' landline. I recorded the answering machine message.
Right, of course.
When I was like 8 years old.
Oh, of course.
And they kept it for, I mean, they got rid of their landline like maybe 10 years ago.
And it was still that?
Yeah, I would call it and I would be like, oh, God, you guys got to get rid of it. This creeps me out. It's like, hi, this is the Austins. Leave us a message.
But, like, if you had children and they weren't the message, like, then something was wrong. Yeah. My really only other catch up or circle back is that I am back on the dates.
Oh.
So I did a little more research, and they're very good for, like, gut health, and they have a lot of health benefits. So I'm
back on them.
I'm back on the dates, 2 dates a day.
2 dates a day.
2 dates a day.
That's my goal.
Away.
That's my goal for my social life pretty soon.
2 dates a day. And I really think maybe on one of our next episodes, we need to do your profile.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah. I gotta get into that. Also, I think I'm going to join Toastmasters.
What's Toastmasters?
Toastmasters is a group. It's like a public speaking group.
Uh-huh.
Where you go, you meet, you work on, you like write
speeches and stuff?
Speeches, and you give these speeches, and then you get feedback on
how to become a better public speaker?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so, and you meet, there's somebody who volunteers at the nonprofit. There's a woman in that group who goes, and I was like, oh, I've been thinking about doing it. My brother does it. Mm-hmm. He really likes it, so... Yeah, so I think I'm going to try that.
Yeah, because that would be a way to meet people and also a way to hone a skill.
Yeah, and I need to get better at Just, like, slowing down, thinking about what I'm going to say, confidence in what you say.
Confidence in what you say, yeah, for sure.
I did say I was going to stop doing things. But I reached my capacity of, like, stuff I'm taking on and commitments. Yeah, but I don't know. This is something I actually want to do as opposed to, like, I was doing a lot of freelance work, and I was just like, you got to stop.
Yeah.
It's too much. You have a full-time job. Just leave it at that, and then do... fill your time with stuff you want to do. Right. So, I think that's the next thing.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, so I have a couple things on my spill before we get into the topic.
That's fine.
I need to know if you've heard of the millennial mole.
No.
Okay. Well, I guess it's this phenomenon. I don't know. People are talking about it online. That all millennials have this mole. I mean,
what?
You have 12,000, so it's kind of like...
Well, they're not moles, they're freckles.
They're freckles, yeah.
Don't can't be mole lady over here.
Well, sometimes there's, like, the lines are blurred between mole and freckle.
Yes.
Because, what do we consider that?
It's a freckle.
Yeah.
It's flat.
Yeah. But apparently, people have been sharing online, like, do you have the millennial mole? You have it! You have it.
I mean, that one is much more distinct than the rest of my freckles.
And, okay, you guys, so it's, for those of you who aren't watching, which this isn't a video podcast, but perhaps this will be a clip, the majority of people have it on their left arm. Some people were saying right, but like 90% of people were saying their left arm, about midway up their forearm, they have a freckle mole.
And the
amount of people corroborating this and being like, I have it, is insane.
That's crazy.
And, like, of course it's just some, like, wild coincidence thing, but it's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So no Gen Zers, no Gen Xers? It's just a millennial thing?
Right.
Huh. Somebody get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we need to know what's going on here for sure. But anyway, I saw the thing and I was like, no way. I looked down at my arm, I'm like, got it.
I am a millennial.
I am a millennial and I have the millennial
Remember
mole.
when millennials used to just be like the dog shit of all the people and now we're like kind of aged out of it? Remember when people were just like, ugh, millennials.
Well,
for like
we're
a
adults
good
now.
I know, for like a good
like 10 years.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like every generation gets that at some point.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just the cycle.
Yeah, for sure. 'Cause I mean,
it seemed like a little bit more intense for millennials though.
I think it has to be because we were really the first generation to grow up with tech.
Yeah.
You know, and with computers anyway and the internet, like.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone just thinks Gen Z is cool.
Yeah.
And millennials are just like, oh, millennials are so lazy.
I feel like, though, that, too, just has to do with the internet and tech. It's like we were able to accomplish tasks and do things without putting in that, like, so-called elbow grease.
Yeah.
And we were having different kinds of careers and different... It's like the movie Father of the Bride, when he says, I'm an independent... what does he say? I'm an independent something consultant. And Steve Martin's like, that's not a job. You know what I mean? We were the first generation, I feel like, to really have jobs like that. Oh, independent communications consultant.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And he's like, oh, I go around setting up all these big computer systems, you know? And he's like, that's not a job. What do you mean? So he's unemployed. That was with Steve Martin. He's like, so he's unemployed.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I feel like we were the first generation to have jobs like that, and the boomers just didn't understand it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's your other spill?
Okay, so my other thing is, this actually came up on another podcast I was listening to, and I was like, are we still doing this? So I want to get your thoughts on it as somebody who's, you know, in your late 30s, or mid? How old are you now? 37?
37. Oh, yo.
You've reached the late 30s, and dating. This woman called in for advice about, and this was like even kind of crazier because she's been with her husband for like 11 years, and somehow the question of like the roster came up, and she didn't want to answer it, and I guess he was kind of like giving her some grief about it. And I'm like, is this something we're still doing? Like, does this matter? I feel like...
What, like, does it matter how many people you've slept with in your past?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not in a negative way, I don't think, anymore. I guess it depends on who you talk to, but like...
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, how Because to me, I feel like that says more about him than it does her. Him feeling like he needs the answer to that question, especially now.
So he asked?
Yeah.
First of all, that is wild.
Well, okay.
First of all, you don't have the right to ask a woman how many people she slept with. Like,
right.
What? Get out of here.
So I guess that's kind of what I want to get your opinion on. As somebody who is getting back in the dating world, like, how would you approach that if a guy asked you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would depend on how they asked, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, did he share his, we go back and forth? I mean, first date, I would just be like, I don't want to answer that question. Like, right. I mean, unless we were kind of like joking around and the conversation led to that. But if he was just straight up like, hey, I need to know how many people you've slept with in the past because that matters to me, I would just be like, I don't think we're right for each other. And I probably wouldn't see him again.
Right. Okay, so that's one scenario, and I totally agree with you on that. Like, absolutely not. Like, a first date asking, no. What's your opinion on, like, what information is pertinent and, like, what should be shared? Let's say you've been, like, obviously these people weren't married and have been together, like, 10 years, which is so wild to me. Like, you're way beyond that. Like, what are you going to do, divorce her? Like, this is insane. But I do feel like, you know, conversations of previous relationships and things like that come up when you're dating somebody. So let's say like you've been dating somebody a while and the conversation comes up. What do you feel like the other person is entitled to in terms of information about your past relationships and things like that?
I think the other person is entitled to whatever information you're comfortable telling.
Right.
You know, I think it's totally up to every individual. I don't think, unless there is some other circumstance that's like affecting your health and could affect theirs, then, right. You know, I don't think they deserve that information or are entitled to that information at all.
I don't either. I just thought it was like, I mean, obviously this is even, like I said, stranger situation because they've been together and married, but it just got me thinking about, yeah, like this day and age, especially like dating when you're older, everybody has a past. Everybody has been with people. It doesn't matter. I think unless... I really don't think it matters at all.
I guess there's a point where if I'd be having a conversation with a partner just out of curiosity, like, oh, have you been in a lot of relationships before? Yeah. But I don't feel entitled to that information. Right. And his answer truly wouldn't make a difference to me.
Right.
You know, it would just more be like give me a little context into like an insight into maybe some of their behaviors.
Right.
But it wouldn't be like, oh, you've never had a girlfriend before? Well, I can't date you because you're not experienced. Or you slept with a lot of people? Well, that's wrong. Or I don't want to date you. Like, no, I don't think that matters at all.
I don't either. And I mean, I feel like, you know, maybe information about the most recent relationship they had and why that ended could maybe be valuable information into like getting a little bit of insight into somebody. I think it's okay to maybe ask like, have you ever cheated on anyone? But other than that,
well, and this is the thing too, like I think maybe it's okay to ask if you're curious and you'd like to know, but you should also understand if you're asking that you're not entitled to an answer.
Right.
And then, like, they could very well be like, I don't really want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I think you should accept that and take that as an answer.
Yeah, I just was, like, so taken aback by, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that seems very, like, very antiquated.
Surely we're not doing that anymore.
No, that seems like a little toxic masculinity.
Yes, that's exactly
rearing
what I
its
was
head,
thinking.
where it's just like, oh yeah, like you need your woman to be a certain type of way,
and like, what are you going? You're married to this woman. What are you going to do with this information? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I was more interested in hearing, you know, your thoughts in terms of like dating these days than really what was going on there because it seemed much more layered.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's a common conversation too. And like the first date, like, oh, have you been in a lot of relationships? Like, have you been dating?
Yeah.
But I would never ask about somebody's sex life.
Right.
You know, never. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because like the only example I can really think of is we were talking about this movie the other day, but remember Just Married?
Oh, yeah.
And there's like has she shared the roster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call them bodies now. How many bodies?
Your body count.
Your body count, yeah.
High body count hair. We
Yeah.
all know what that is. Yeah, I mean, what if somebody was just like, so what's your body count?
Yeah, I would just be like, fuck off.
Yeah,
I would
same.
probably, like, you know, kind of treat it as a joke and just be like, fuck off. Why do you think I need to tell you that? Yeah, and I mean, once I got to know the person, and if they wanted to talk about it, and I felt like it was a trustworthy scenario, I don't have any shame about how many people I've been intimate with in my past. So, like, but I also feel like it's none of anybody's business off the bat.
No, it's not. And yeah, if you are somebody that needs to know that, and it's going to change your opinion of somebody, yeah, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a control problem.
Yes.
Where it's like if you have to know that you are in control in some way of that person, or like,
and there's definitely misogynistic undertones there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Misogynistic overtones.
Yes. Overly Tony, absolutely. Oh, man. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so we're going to get into our topic today, which is this idea kind of came from, after the Me Too movement, and I think it may have been like the first Christmas after the Me Too movement. There was a lot of debate around the song Baby It's Cold Outside.
Yeah.
And about whether or not that song should be canceled, because was this guy trying to coerce this woman into staying when she really didn't want to, and was there an issue of consent there? Was he? Yeah. So it kind of got me thinking about, and think what you will about that song. I mean, everybody had differing opinions. For me personally, I felt, first of all, it's from a very different time.
Yeah.
And I feel as though it's more like playful between the two of them. And it didn't feel like him trying to coerce her into staying there to me.
No, I never got that.
I think that way.
I think if you're reading it very literally in today's context, then sure, you could make it sound like that. But I think I've also read things where it's like the turns of phrase from that generation didn't mean what it sounds like it means now.
Right.
It wasn't actually like coercion.
Right.
She wasn't being coerced. It was just like tongue in cheek. I mean, I guess people could make the argument that like, yeah, well, doesn't matter. It can still be,
Yeah.
misconstrued. But yeah, I don't know. I also feel like when it comes to things like songs, if you have a problem with it, is it fair to just say it's canceled for everybody, and if you listen to the song and enjoy it, you're supporting it? I don't know.
I'm gonna.
That's
have
where it
to
gets
say,
into tricky territory, because I feel differently about different things.
Well, same here. And I think, and people are going to feel differently about different songs, just like the people who brought that to light and were very upset about that and wanted that song to be canceled. Like, I don't really feel that way. I also am probably biased because I love Christmas music. Like, I'm obsessed, and I have at least 3 or 4 Christmas albums with that song.
Yeah.
But there are a few that I feel like, why are we bothering with Baby It's Cold Outside when there are songs literally being sung about getting with underage girls?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. So I think it depends for me.
Yeah.
And I do feel like you can't cancel a song. You can't.
Right.
How are you going to do that? So I do think it has to come down to just like your own discretion of, am I going to listen to this song or am I not?
Right. And, are we just dismissing that one just because we like it? We don't want to let go of it.
Yeah, probably. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I don't feel that way about that song too.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't.
Yeah.
But I can see how you could, I suppose, you know.
And I think even just her involvement in the song was almost enough for me to be like, well, she is there.
Right.
Where a lot of these songs about underage girls are just a man singing about how they want to sleep with underage girls. Right. You know what I mean? So there's no the person in question doesn't have a voice in the song.
Yeah, and I feel like sort of some of these underlying themes that, we're talking about with misogyny and toxic masculinity, it's much more overt in some of these other examples. So, should I go first?
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, and this song, it's always irked me.
Mm-hmm.
It grosses me out, and I have to change it when it comes on. And that's Foreigner, Hot Blooded. I cannot.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I would recognize that song. Hot blooded, check it and see.
Yeah.
What's the? I don't think I could recall that.
Okay, so basically the parts that are gross to me is, he's singing about being hot blooded. He's hot for this girl, and he's essentially asking her like, "Oh, do you do more than dance?" And he's saying, "Maybe you can stay all night. Shall I leave you my key? But you got to give me a sign. Come on, girl, some kind of sign." Which, at least he's asking for a sign. Which, I don't know if that's consent, but it's a sign. It's something. "Tell me, are you hot, mama? You sure look that way to me. Are you old enough? Will you be ready when I call your bluff?"
Yeah, gross.
Okay, if you have to ask if she's old enough, she's probably not. And the way this song reads to me is he's like watching this young girl dance in the crowd of his show, and he's lusting after her. And he basically wants to know, like, A, are you old enough? And are you actually going to sleep with me, or are you a prick tease?
Yeah, yikes.
That's essentially the vibe of the song.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
I know, and it...
and I love Foreigner.
Right. It just goes
Classic.
It just goes to show how much, like, people don't pay attention to the lyrics, because, all I ever hear is, hot-blooded, check and see, got a fever of 103. And then the rest, I couldn't name another lyric if I tried. But yeah, I've heard that song a million times, but I don't think I ever, listened to the lyrics and, how many songs like that just float under the radar.
Right. Or also
Seems
just because, nobody thought anything of those lyrics 30 years ago.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
They were like, oh, yeah. He just thinks this girl's hot.
Yeah, we're all pining after teenagers, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that what every full-grown man does?
Or he's a rock star, so of course that's what he's doing.
Well, she shouldn't have been so hot. Maybe you wouldn't have written that song about her.
Yeah, if she hadn't been wearing those shorts. Yeah. So anyway, that one is top tier gross to me.
Yeah.
And I love Foreigner. I have every Foreigner album. Ever. But, yeah. Sick.
Yeah, that's a grossy.
Gross.
I feel like a lot of these songs are from the 80s.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just horny old rock stars just being like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, I can't
all three of my examples are basically from the same era.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
Okay, so my next one, and this one is probably the worst one. Every time I hear this one, too, I'm like, seriously? Aerosmith, Ragdoll.
Oh, yeah. Ew,
it's
that's a bad
so
one.
bad, you guys. It's literally equating a woman to a ragdoll. When you think ragdoll, someone threw me around like a ragdoll, you
dog
think
attacks.
you think of being attacked and it's like a lifeless body. Ragdoll, living in a movie, hot tramp, daddy's little cutie. You're so fine. They'll never see you leaving by the back door, which to me insinuates the fact that she's not old enough to go out with you, so she's sneaking out the back door of her parents' house. And then I'm feeling like a bad boy, just like a bad boy. I'm ripping up a rag doll, throwing away an old toy.
Ugh.
And then ragdoll baby, won't you do me like you've done before?
Gross.
Ugh. This one is horrific.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Remember that video he made with his daughter?
Liv Tyler.
With Liv Tyler and him and Alicia Silverstone. And they were teenagers in their bra and underwear, running around. And they were they were supposed to be the girls, and the hot girls. I was like, ew, gross, it's your daughter. It's weird.
Yeah. And I guess I have heard rumors that Walk This Way is about sleeping with underage girls. That one is not as, like, overt to me. But
I feel like, a lot of these songs are coded. So many of the songs from that era are coded that way.
Yes.
And, nobody realized how many songs I've sung just like, talking about just basically getting raped.
Right. That's essentially, to me, this one is so rapey.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. Daddy's little cutie. Ugh.
Ew. I'm ripping up a rag doll.
Yeah. I mean, what else could they be referring to?
Right. I mean,
Ew.
Yeah. If you have another meaning for this song, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can listen to Aerosmith ever again.
God, dude, it's not great.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, my last one is more subtle, but also very much like shiny object, you are my possession. This one is the Coug, and the song is I Saw You First. And it's really mostly just the chorus, but it's subtle, but it's not great. But I saw you first. I'm the first one tonight. Yes, I saw you first. Don't that give me the right to move around in your heart? Everyone was looking, but I saw you first.
Yikes, yeah.
It's like giving her no say. It's very much like, oh, there's...
whatever I want, I'm in control,
Yeah,
you're my property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I have to do is see you.
And then you're mine.
And I'm entitled to you.
Yeah. Yeah, gross. And I mean, I think that is how men thought for a really long time.
And I think he thought that was flattering.
Oh, sure.
And you know what? She probably did too.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he definitely thought it was like, A, his right, B, that, it was like,
and like
it's
going to be flattering to you that I am feeling entitled to you.
Yeah. Crazy. It's crazy to think like
we've come so far, yet we have so far to go.
Right?
You know?
I know. And it is so crazy that like, not that things are perfect and we don't need obviously more progress to happen, but it is kind of wild that like when was that song written? Like what, early 90s?
Yeah, because this is one of his later ones. Let's look. 96.
Like 96, yeah. So I mean, at least thank God for
20 years ago. Yeah.
But seriously, thank God for the Me Too movement.
30 years ago.
Because I really feel like things didn't start to shift until that. You know,
Me too.
I don't think men started to wake up to any of the undertones.
No.
You know, until that
And
happened.
most people still aren't awake to the undertones.
No.
I feel like you could make that song today.
Yeah, because that's not as over. Yeah.
Right. Ragdoll? Maybe not. But this one, you could probably sing that today.
Yeah.
And
it would be romantic. People would think it was
and
romantic.
some people would be like, but a lot of people would still be like, oh, it's so romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so flattering.
Right.
To be her.
Okay, well, mine were...
Yeah, let me hear yours.
Nearly as specific. Mine were a little bit more general. Well, the first one was Every Step You Take.
Oh, yes.
Which is kind of one that everybody already knows about.
Right.
But especially because Puff Daddy did a revision of that one.
Puff Daddy. Like, I haven't heard Puff Daddy.
Oh, that's right. It's P. Diddy. I guess Puff Daddy was pretty... I think he was Puff Daddy at the time.
Yes, he was definitely Puff Daddy at the time,
I
think.
What's it called? Not a remake, but what's it called when you redo a song?
A cover.
A cover, yes. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, everyone kind of knows about that one where it's like very stalkerish, but it's like the number one wedding song.
Yeah, I actually
which is
heard,
funny.
I was listening to an interview or reading an interview with Sting where he was talking about that because they brought it up. They're like, yeah, this, it's the number one wedding song. He's like, yeah, it's really strange to me because it's not a romantic song. It's not. It's much darker than that, and I'm surprised that people choose it.
Right. I mean, I guess art is open to interpretation, so
That's true.
If you want to hear I Will Never Leave You, Baby, We'll Be Together Forever, Every Step You Take.
Every vow you break, I'll be watching you.
And then my other one was just all of R. Kelly's catalog.
Yeah.
Which...
The entire discography.
Which, like, brings me back to my kind of earlier point of, like, it's not like I was a huge R. Kelly fan, but I did love Ignition.
Everybody loves the remix to Ignition. Are you kidding me? Everyone our
song,
age.
Yeah, but you can't listen to it.
No.
You know, and that is one where it's just like, you can't listen to his music.
Mm-mm.
That is one where it's like, if you're playing to shit, you're supporting R. Kelly. I'm sorry.
I know.
You know, where it's
wild.
like, you play...
Well, same with Diddy.
Right. Oh, I feel the same way. But do you feel the same way about Michael Jackson?
I know. I was going to ask you about that one.
I mean, that's
a tough one.
kind of what this whole topic really made me think about today.
Yeah.
It's just like, where do you draw the line?
Exactly.
And is it just because I wasn't really an R. Kelly fan, minus that one song
So it was
before?
easy to do?
Yeah.
Because Michael Jackson is a tough one.
Yeah, and I do...
He's got bangers.
And I do listen to his songs, and I do every single time now.
Think about
it, yeah.
I know.
Because, like, I don't know how you watch that documentary and don't believe those people.
I know.
They're men now.
I know.
But, I mean, he did it. Like, I'm sorry.
I know.
The jig is up. Like,
I know. And it is that question of, can you separate the art from the artist?
Right.
And is it it morally acceptable to separate the art from the artist?
Yeah, I know. I don't think there is an answer for that. I think it is one of those things where it's up to everyone's discretion, like you said. And I don't know. I haven't answered that for myself either.
I know. Me neither.
I know, and I guess it's like, I was also thinking, too, I was like, okay, well, do we take the severity of the assaults or the crimes into consideration?
Yeah.
Because, R. Kelly... I think so, too. I mean, R. Kelly was just, like, deplorable in so many ways. Long-term, consistent, awful things against many women. And, again, the same with Michael Jackson. Like, years and years of... Right, years and years of horrible behavior, hiding it, calculated...
I know.
And denying it the whole time.
Right. I know.
So, I know, and, like, I don't really listen to his music much anymore. I mean, I don't like, swear it off completely.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I'm not going to change the radio station if it comes on.
Right.
But
I'm also not, like, shut him off.
Yeah.
Fuck Michael Jackson forever, you know? But I can't say that it doesn't, like, make me go, oh.
I know.
I know.
And I don't ever choose to listen to it.
Not really anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what's weird? Because Michael Jackson had such a long career when, he was a child star.
Yeah.
And there is that, like, defining shift where he, started bleaching his skin.
Yeah, like, is it okay to listen to Jackson 5?
Right.
But
and I do when I see, I feel like it's different.
Yeah.
Also, there were a lot of other people in that band.
That's true, yeah.
But it does, I feel like there is, like, a turning point with the music where it's almost like, I feel like this is when this was going on.
Yeah.
And now you look at him, you look at...
like the timeline of things.
Yeah. And you look at him when he was a younger person. He hadn't started, like, bleaching his skin. Not that that matters, but, like, there is, like, a visual
There's a trajectory.
shift.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, I can't help but, like, it seems more innocent, like, the Thriller days almost.
Right.
And I don't know the timeline for sure, so maybe that doesn't even count. But, yeah, the Jackson 5 stuff when he was younger.
Yeah.
It's just, like... That feels okay, but this later stuff just doesn't.
I know.
And
I know.
Again, I don't care if you listen to Michael Jackson. I think less of people who do.
No,
anyway.
Me either. It's just, I do think it's a personal choice every woman has to make for herself.
Right, exactly.
What's that from?
Clueless.
Yeah. And it is a tough one. It really is.
Yeah.
And
that's one of those things, too, where it's like, I know how important Michael Jackson was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's hard when he wasn't my hero.
No.
But imagine him being your hero.
I know.
Being
they say don't meet your heroes.
Right.
I know.
I also feel that way about Louis C.K.
You used to love Louis C.K.
I love Louis. I mean, he is a brilliant comedian, and his show was amazing and groundbreaking. But he gives me the ick.
Well, yeah.
And, like, he didn't even have that, I mean, comparatively to, like, Michael Jackson or Kelly, not that egregious. It was mostly his response to it that really made me just go, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Just the, like, digging the heels in and, like, not taking any accountability whatsoever.
Right.
But again, like, he's fine. I don't think, it's up to everybody. Watch him or don't. I don't care.
Like Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. I mean, he... Oof.
Yeah. I mean...
Woof.
For me personally, not that I was, again, Bill Cosby wasn't my hero. Of course, we all grew up watching the show, and I never was like, watched his stand up really anyway.
I didn't either. It was, yeah.
It was just before our
I'd
time,
seen it,
really.
but it wasn't like
right.
pinnacle for me.
I will take action to avoid supporting him in any way. Absolutely not.
And, you know, there's some behaviors where, like Louis C.K., if he would have reacted the right way, responded the right way, there's coming back from that.
Right.
If you take accountability. Bill Cosby, there's no coming back from what he did.
No, 100%.
Like, there is no forgiveness.
No.
There is nothing you can do.
No.
To make that better.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not.
Like,
there's no righting that wrong.
Absolutely not.
You have to remind me
Feeling,
exactly what he did. I don't remember.
Louis C.K.?
Yeah.
So he says this was consensual, but he jerked off in front of women who worked for him or colleagues of him.
Okay.
I can't remember if they actually worked for him, but he asked if he could jerk off in front of them. They said yes.
But they didn't mean it.
Yeah, and they were also in a position of he was a superior figure.
Right. It was a power imbalance.
Yeah. And they felt, you know, pressured to do that, and it made them very... And afterwards, you know, which, hello...
Yeah.
They thought about it. They processed their emotions. They were like, that was fucked up.
Yeah,
and you shouldn't do that to women. And he was like, well, I asked you and you said yes. And it's just like, how do you not get this?
Right.
How are you not even capable of understanding at all?
Right.
How you could have been wrong, even in the slightest bit. And no, he wouldn't. He refused.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like that.
He was kind of, I do remember, that was before Me Too. Wasn't it? Yeah. So I feel like, because I remember it, I just couldn't remember what happened.
And it was before Me Too, were like right at the cusp of it.
Okay. And the reason I say that is because of the way he responded. I feel like it was, like, I'm not going to give this any life.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you almost kind of have to.
Yeah.
People are being forced to give, to not just flat out deny. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing. But, yeah, I feel like that was in that era of, like, no, I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm going to stand by that because I can, and no one's going to tell me different.
Yeah, and I think it was before, like, people really understood this concept of power dynamics.
Right.
You know, and the fact that the intricacies of sexual assault and the way...
consent.
Yeah, and consent and the way that, like, you know, saying yes sometimes isn't always... And I know that's what makes it hard, but, like, if you're not taking into account the power dynamic, and that's what this woman's point was, is like, I felt like I had to say yes because you were in control of my career some way.
Right.
And, you know, he just refused to acknowledge that had anything to do with it. Yeah. Which was just not cool to me.
No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? No. Yeah, it's a tough one. It is.
And that's the thing about a lot of these celebrities who get canceled. Most of them
are
most
fine. Of them come back eventually. You know? Yeah, for sure. People just forget and they move on.
Yeah.
I mean, they move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and his was an example, too, of, like, in a lot of eyes, people's minds wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
You know, because
or, like, wasn't assault.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I don't think, see that as assault because he didn't touch anyone.
Right.
Or, you know.
Yeah, and because he did, in some way, get consent from these people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was a tricky one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and it was weird, too, though, thinking back about, like, yeah, he did talk about masturbation a lot in his stand-up. Like, thinking back on it, just like, ugh, gross. Yeah. Like, I thought he was getting all of his frustration out telling jokes, but no, apparently he was just jerking off in front of ladies all the time.
Jesus.
Like, what a crazy thing to do.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I don't want to, like, kink shame.
No, but, like...
If people are doing that consensually is the main word there, then, you know, more power to you. But, yeah, it's not for me.
No.
It's not for me.
Just fucking take it home. You know? Jerk off in front of people in your home. Like, we're going to do it at work in your office. Like...
Yeah, that should be your first sign.
Yeah, and
it's like the whole Matt Lauer
thing. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. I could be misremembering details. It's been a long time since I've read about it, but...
if this person is truly consenting to this interaction, they will come to your house and do it with you.
Yeah.
Like, don't be asking people in the office.
No, absolutely not.
Jesus. Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Come on. So anyway, we'd love to know what you as the audience feel about separating the art from the artist.
Yeah, it's what I think about a lot.
I know, me too. So we'd love some feedback. Let us know what your thoughts are. How do you deal with this kind of stuff? Okay, are those your only examples? Are we moving on?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move into the reality check segment.
Check.
Because I have some things to say.
I have some things to say.
And you know what? It's very much along the lines of everything we've been talking about in this episode about where you draw the line for things, because I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are going to be. But let's just start with, I don't know that I really have much to say about the final episode of the reunion of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I don't really remember anything except for Garcelle walking off. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah, not doing the picture. And
yeah. Just pretty weak.
We'll see how casting goes for next season. I'm interested to see how they're going to shake things up.
I wonder if Kyle will come back.
Yeah. I don't see Kyle ever not coming back.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Really? I figured she'd be her days would be numbered.
I don't think so.
Now that she's sober and I don't know.
I don't think so. I really think she'll be there till the bitter end.
How long do you think it'll go on?
I don't know. We'll see. I feel like it's the most solid franchise in terms of its viewership and its cast.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe they'll get someone interesting in there. And it's always fun, too, because I feel like it's the only franchise where sometimes the cast does have, like, a colorful background. Like the Jennifer Tilleys and the Lisa Rinnas. Like, people who are in the industry in other capacities. And, yeah. So it's always fun to kind of, like, see who might be up for it. Yeah. So it'll be fun. Okay. Let's move into the Valley, because I just have so many things to say.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you start.
I mean, Jax. I feel like we've been hearing about this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Before the show aired, like all of his going to rehab and all this. It was just kind of funny to compare his narrative from before and then seeing it on the show. And I just feel so bad for these women who have to deal with Jax and Jesse.
Oh my God.
I mean, the two of them on one show is just like, wow, I can't imagine having to share a child with either one of them.
No, and I just want to be like, Michelle, she has literally said, I never thought Jesse was the one. I mean, she said that season 1, and it's like,
yeah.
Why did you have a child with this person?
I know.
I mean, not that they have a child. She's beautiful. You love your children. It doesn't matter who the parent is. But it's just like...
And just like...
What kept her in that relationship when she's like, I didn't even like him to begin with?
And it's just like classic textbook. The both of them are so manipulative.
Yeah.
I love that at one point when Jesse and her were fighting and she was like, you always do this. You always cry, and then you make me look like I'm this insensitive thing. And it was just like, yeah, it made you realize how I'm sure every single thing that guy's doing on the show is calculated. Yeah. Same thing with Jax.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, God.
I do have to say, I find Michelle to be much more, like, petty, and I find her to be almost just as toxic as Jesse. I don't really feel that way about Brittany in terms of the way she interacts with Jax.
Yeah.
But sometimes with Michelle, I'm like, you're just as toxic.
Michelle's petty also. Things she brings up where it's just like, okay.
I think they bring out the worst in each other.
Yeah,
I think he brings out the worst in her.
Yeah.
But
I feel like he's on another level.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so about the scene where Jax comes to the house and the whole thing comes out, which is what they've been talking about, how him being a coke addict. And here's what I really want to talk about. So he had Dr. Drew on his podcast, okay? And he did a narcissist test. Now, he's been
Jax had Dr. Drew on his podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his solo podcast, or they're one, like,
yeah, so they've
together?
split now.
Okay.
He has his own podcast.
Okay.
And he's been previously diagnosed with bipolar and OCD, and he's now admitted to his addiction problems. Mm-hmm. He's admitted to alcoholism, cocaine addict, and he has admitted to being a sex addict as well. And he talked about that a little bit on the Dr. Drew podcast. And it was funny because Dr. Drew was like, I don't want to say he was throwing shade, but he was definitely like, you could tell that he could tell when Jax was like, just
bullshitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was, and
he's incapable of not.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it is pathological. Like, he just can't.
Absolutely.
Help himself.
And so they did the narcissist test, and Dr. Drew was saying, typically people who struggle with addiction, you know, they're going to test above average. And he's like, it would be strange if you didn't. I mean, that's just, they kind of go hand in hand, some of these characteristics and, you know, people facing addiction issues. But he did say that the highest score he'd ever seen was 34. Jax was 29. So I was watching some reactions online on TikTok and Instagram to the episode of the show, and just kind of all the information leading up to it, and some of the reactions to his podcast. And there's a lot of people who are just like so pissed off about him still being on TV and having all these platforms because he's so horrible and all this stuff. And some people were even going as far as saying that he's basically part of the manosphere with his podcast and some of these ideologies that he's perpetuating just based on his behavior and his treatment of Britney and other women throughout the years. And my question or point is, at what point can we separate bad behavior from mental illness? Like, at what point is it like, okay, this is just a bad person who has bad behavior, who makes poor choices, maybe has some of these misogynistic ideologies? Because you don't have to be a narcissist to have those behaviors and those things. And not every narcissist is probably a misogynist, right?
Right.
So it's like,
is narcissism a mental health disorder, or is it a behavioral disorder? I don't know if narcissism is necessarily a mental health disorder.
I think it depends. So, like, narcissistic personality disorder, like certain narcissistic disorders, I would say are.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things that can kind of be both, you know? And it is something that I think you were born with to an extent. Like, we all fall somewhere on the spectrum of narcissism, and we've talked about this. It is a personality trait, how narcissistic you are. It's like an innate personality trait that you are born with. But then I think when it comes to, like, and I mean, I'm not a doctor, not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. This is literally just what I remember from being a psychology major in college, you know? I think certain, like, more narcissistic disorders can be both a little bit of nature and nurture together, but they are mostly, from what I remember, like, you're born that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at what point do we separate behavior from mental health issues? And at what point do we just look at it as, like, this person shouldn't have a platform and we should be canceling them, and he shouldn't have this podcast, he shouldn't be contributing to society in this way of, like, putting his rhetoric out there? And then at what point do we actually look at something like this as a good thing and say, let's shed some light on this and get the information to the people? And maybe people see this and they're like, oh, this person in my life is kind of like this. Or even you yourself, like, oh, where's the line between it's harmful and it's helpful?
Yeah.
And where do we draw the line between separating the two? Like, just, this is a shitty person who makes shitty choices with bad behavior, and this is a mentally ill person who needs help.
Right.
You know? It's so tough.
Yeah, I know, that really is hard. Yeah, that's an extremely tough one. Especially with things like, you know, narcissism, because that seems like one of the least helpless mental health disorders. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as in, like, you can control your narcissism, because I get that, you know, it's something that's innate in you. Right. You know, it's a trait that you either have or you don't. But it also seems like one that is, you are capable of learning about and correcting your behavior. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if narcissism is necessarily like a chemical imbalance, like bipolar disorder.
Right.
Where you really are like, it is incontrollable.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to the question of like, when do we give these people a platform and when don't we? I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it's almost impossible to answer. I mean, I feel like right now Jax's crimes are personal to his relationship. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't really feel like he's out here hurting lots of other people, other than, you know, I'm sure he's lied to a million people and women, and I'm sure he's mistreated many women in his relationship. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a great example of who we should look up to, because he's also not really doing
the work
either.
At least we don't think so. It hard to know.
Yeah, I mean, because I thought one illuminating thing in the episode was he was on the phone with the person at the treatment center. And the question came up, if I don't stay the whole 30 days, do I get my money back? And he was like, no. And he like threw his phone down. Yeah. It was almost just like, yeah, you had no intention of staying.
Right.
This is all just an act.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to treatment. I'm going to get my life right, but I'm only going to stay a week, and then I'm going to come back and keep doing exactly what I've been doing this whole time.
Right.
You know, so like, yeah, I mean, does Jax have a fans or following? Like, who listens to this guy and is like, yeah. I feel like he's got to have mostly just haters at this point. You know what I mean? And people who listen to his podcast out of just to like hear what insane things he's going to say, not because they're like, oh, Jax is great, and I want to listen to his take on mental health.
I don't really think so either. I don't particularly see him as like a harmful person online. You know what I mean? I'm not comparing him to like the Andrew Tates of the world, which some people are. And I just wonder, because you do see somebody like this and it's like, how much of this is just the mental illness part of it, and how much of it is, you're just a shit person who behaves poorly. And it is hard to know where to draw that line, and almost sometimes even what the difference is.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like in terms of like some of the stuff he's dealing with, I think you can take it into consideration. Like, okay, I take into consideration that he's dealing with all of these things, you know, alcoholism, addiction, bipolar disorder, and, you know, I can empathize with that. Mm-hmm. But to a certain degree, it doesn't excuse continued bad behavior. So it's like, you take into account, you empathize, but at the end of the day, if you have to be, you know, accountable and working to fix it in some way, shape, or form, to, you know, do as much as you can to prevent yourself from hurting other people because of it.
Yeah. And I wonder too, because he always said all those years on Vanderpump Rules, it was always this big running joke at the reunion where it would be Jax, you know, I'm really working on just like trying to become a better person, you know? Yeah. And it kind of became this running joke. But it's really only been in the last year or 2 years that he's actually done anything. And I'm not saying he's done enough, but that he's really done anything besides just say that. And I'm not saying he did it willfully or because he wanted to be better. He did it because I think he was forced into it by production and his ex-wife. But, you know, so now he's gotten his diagnosis on the mental health side of it. He's admitted to his struggles with addiction. He's supposedly getting help with all of that. I don't know. And it's like, like, what do we as a society, like, consider enough and, like, doing the work? And I think it's just so hard to know because you just don't know, like, what his like true intentions are,
or if
any of it is sincere or genuine.
And that's the thing. This sounds like a shitty thing to say, but it's kind of feels a little hopeless. Like he's always gonna be.
I know, it's like some people
always
can't
gonna be who
saved.
he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's almost just like it is. It's pathological. He can't help it.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't even know he's doing it. This is just who the guy is.
I know. Well, but see, and I guess that's what I'm curious about too. Is like, okay, so. Is this something that now that all of this has like come to light, is it possible for him to actually grow and evolve at this point now that he's kind of admitted everything, has all the information, or do we think that people are beyond saving?
I think it's possible. I just don't think he wants to. I think deep down he doesn't want to change.
Yeah.
I think he's been told enough times that he needs to change, that he knows he needs to. For other people, but I don't think he wants to because it's a lot of work. You have to stop like doing the things that are natural to you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the trajectory is from here and how the court of public opinion plays out. I would say it's one of the more interesting and kind of extreme cases of a personality that we've had in reality TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that and the criminals, the ones that go to prison, I will never understand why you would go on a reality show when you were defrauding America. Like, it makes no sense to me.
It's because criminals are dumb and they really think they can get away with stuff. Like,
insane.
you cannot get away with anything anymore.
No.
Nothing.
Especially when you're literally exposing yourself to 400 million people.
Right. Like, are you kidding me? Everything is trackable. Literally everything you do.
Oh boy.
My gosh.
Okay, should we get into grapes and gripes? Okay. So my gripe is going to the cost of a 12-pack of Coke and Pepsi.
Ugh.
Because here's the thing. The cost of it is like $8.99 or $9.99 now for a 12-pack. They used to be like $4.99. And they will be on sale like every 6 weeks or so, either on digital deal for $4.99 or it'll be like buy two, get three free, which means they obviously don't cost $8.99 or $9.99.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do that when they get a lot of stock and they need to like move the inventory, you know? And so they're like, okay, let's throw it on digital deal or do the two, get three free thing. And it's like, maybe if you just made them that price all the time, you wouldn't have that problem because people would be buying them. Because you know what? The reason that you're getting the inventory issue is because nobody's buying them when it's $8.99 or $9.99. Because you know what? I'm not.
Right.
And my husband drinks Coca-Cola like I drink coffee. Like he doesn't drink coffee. He drinks at least one, if not two Coca-Colas every day. And so I have to buy Coca-Cola Classic. And I refuse to buy it at that price. I just wait and then I buy 5 of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you just, it clearly doesn't cost that much. Just make it $4.99 or $5.99.
Yeah.
So that's my gripe. Then my grape is going to Triscuit Thins. And the reason it's going to Triscuit Thins is because, listen, I'm not somebody who restricts food or counts calories, but there is something to be said for looking at that serving size of a Triscuit and being like, 6 crackers? That's it? Triscuit Thins, baby, it's 15.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. That's good to know.
And I would much rather have 15 Triscuit Thins than 6 Triscuit Thicks.
A Thisket.
A Thisket, if you will.
No, that's good to know because I buy Triscuits every time I go to the store because we'll just do another grape out to Triscuits. They only have 3 ingredients.
Exactly. They're clean.
Mind-blowing.
They're clean.
There is nothing else in the grocery store that has 3 ingredients.
You're not going to find a cracker that doesn't have at least 12 ingredients you can't pronounce.
No, and you know what? I really enjoy them.
They're delicious. They're very salty.
They're very salty.
They're fabulous. You cannot go wrong with a Triscuit. But it's a thin skit that you need.
I've been known to enjoy a dry snack, though. I like just simple flavored things. Like I like just a regular flavored potato chip.
I do too. I'm a salt girl.
Yeah,
too.
I've been made fun of. Like I just like plainly salted stuff.
Oh, so do I. Are you kidding me?
I think most people be like a Triscuit,
a pretzel,
oh god,
a chip, a Triscuit.
Pretzels are the one where I'm not always on board.
Yeah, I'm a little picky about the brand, but when it's good, it's good.
I just feel like There's only like 3 times a year where I really am like, pretzels. Other than that, I'm like, no. But I do love a flavored pretzel.
A chocolate or a yogurt covered pretzel?
Oh, well, that's a different story. Man. I'm talking about just a plain pretzel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like a plain pretzel too. Yeah. A good rod with a little mustard.
Yeah, rod's good. And a rod dipped in chocolate's really good too.
Yeah.
But I love a mustard pretzel. Oh my God. Like the powdery.
Mustard,
yeah. So good.
Yeah, you had those dots.
Yeah, the dots are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are like flavored kind of.
They are a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, great. My grape.
Okay, great. Great.
I've been working on my segues. Can you tell? Okay, great. Next. My grape goes out to gel pedicures. I think I am converted.
You're a gel girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Every day I look down, I'm just like, oh, it's so shiny still. It looks perfect. It looks just like it did.
Yeah, but they've grown out. That's the problem.
No, but like, not much though. It's like you can't even really tell.
I guess I'm just.
I like it. I think I'm gonna get them all forever now.
You're on board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see when I have to like
have it removed.
Yeah, if I feel the same way. Because I don't actually know what that process is like.
Yeah, I feel like I did just remove it myself the last time I had one.
Just like ice pick it off or something?
I think I just bought acetone.
Oh.
And I was able to get it off.
Is that not like toxic?
I'm sure it's toxic. Oh. Very toxic. This gel polish is probably toxic.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. You know what's not toxic? Trishkish.
I clocked you saying that right before you said it. I was like, I'm not going to say Triscuits.
And you know what? I don't have a gripe this week.
No gripe?
I mean, I was trying to think of one all day, and I was just like, I guess I was just in a really good mood.
I mean,
my dog just chewed up our microphone cord. I'm pretty pissed about that.
That was gripey.
And now I didn't really punish her, so now I can't go back and punish her now.
No, the window's passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was just gonna.
No retroactive punishment.
Got away with that.
Punishments don't work anyway.
I know. Positive reinforcement in this household. Oh, man. All right. Well.
All right.
I think that's all she.
That's going to be our episode, folks. Bye.
Bye.